Welcome to the first ever GamerStore Legion exclusive interview. My name is Ronan Fox, or some might know me as the AlphaFox, and with me today is fellow Legion member and professional football FIFA player, Doolsta. How you doing, Doolsta?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah.
First of all, I want to
Yeah.
say thanks a million for coming on and talking with me today. There is many viewers out there that want to get into the competitive FIFA scene, and I'm going to be picking your brain, and we're going to be talking about everything that goes into becoming a professional football player. What I want to ask you is, how did you get into the competitive FIFA scene? What's your background and how did you get into it?
Just give a bit about my background. I kind of grew up in a small village in Galway called Crowell, and I always had, growing up, loved soccer. So FIFA kind of became my, favorite game. We kind of always had a PS2. I think was the first console. I had older brothers, so just started playing that, and we'd have a few tournaments in secondary school. Kind of started winning them, and then I always knew I was decent, but I never really seen myself being at a top level. And then I moved to America in 2016, and about 2 years after that, in 2018, Philadelphia Union, the MLS team from the local area. I lived just about 40 minutes outside Philadelphia. Announced they were holding a tournament to find their first pro gamer because the MLS were running their first FIFA league that year, so anyone could enter. Just kind of went played qualifiers, and then they had a big tournament at their stadium, and yeah, I was fortunate enough to win that, and I got handed my first contract, and then kind of just didn't look back from there.
And that was the moment you said, "This is for me. This is what I want to do with the rest of my life, or as long as I can do it." So talk about you talked about the MLS. What exactly is the MLS for those that don't know?
Yeah, so the MLS, Major League Soccer, it's basically the Premier League for American clubs. It's the top, tier professional soccer league in America. They've had top players like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Beckham played over there. So yeah, that's just the soccer league there, and then EMLS is just the FIFA league, esports MLS. So yeah.
Yeah. So each team has a FIFA team kind of related to a specific team. So you're with Nashville, is that right?
hmm Yeah, I'm with Nashville. Yeah, I was my first 2 years I was with the Philadelphia Union, and then last year I made a switch over to Nashville.
So how does that work? Is that like a transfer? Did you have to, go for negotiation talks and?
Yeah, so it actually wasn't a transfer. A lot of people kind of thought it was, but my contract has actually expired with the union. A lot of people don't know as well. Actually, a lot of esports players we have agents. So I have an agent myself.
Wow. No, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so he kind of you'd be in talks with them. He'd be trying to find you clubs, and then Nashville just came in with a really good offer that I couldn't really turn down. So yeah, I just thought it was great, and then signed with them last year, and then luckily enough they wanted me back again, so re-signed again for this year.
So it's a yearly basis is the contract. Is that what way it works?
It varies. I personally like to just go a year because you
Yeah.
never know. Based on I could have an amazing year where I win a world championship, and you don't really want to be locked into a contract where there's room to be negotiating. So I always just personally try to do yearly contracts. Unless maybe it's a really good team or a team that I dream to play. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, like FaZe Clan or one of those top orgs. Maybe you might want to secure a long term deal there. But no, I'm very happy to be with Nashville, and
It's
yeah.
amazing, the level of detail that goes into the actual esports scene. I'm loving, the fact that you do get your contracts, and it is a serious career for you and for many other people that are into the esports scene. Tell us a little bit about what you think of the FIFA scene here in Ireland, how you think it's grown maybe in the last couple of years, and what we could do as a community to kind of push it forward in the right direction.
Yeah, I already know this week I've seen a lot of Irish FIFA players, complaining that there's not much to, happen here because it's a lot of leagues like the Premier League, leagues all around Europe have, their own leagues, and in Ireland there isn't really anything. You kind of only have to play online tournaments that's open to Europe. There's not really anything exclusive. So I'd love to see, maybe our Tri-City League do something where, along the lines what I'm doing in America, where clubs just have a gamer and they just play, and it even doesn't have to be, that for that much money or something, but it gives, people in Ireland, something to progress up to, kind of a higher level than
Just as a
kind of sitting
starting
at
point,
home.
yeah, to
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of connect with Electricity League. And you were talking about, just to kind of revert back to Nashville. is it one player per team? So would one player be playing for, say, Galway United, another player for Longford Town, and so forth?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I'm just a sole player for Nashville, and then every other club will have a sole player, and then we just control the teams. It's not like pro clubs or something like that
Yeah.
where we'd all just I'd be there with 10 other players on the team. It's just me controlling just all the players. So
So you
yeah,
control Nashville. You're not controlling your ultimate team or anything like
uh,
that.
so no, sorry, yeah, it is. It is through Ultimate Team.
Okay.
The MLS though tend to do restrictions where I think this year we have to use 5 MLS players.
Wow.
So we have to have 5 MLS players on the pitch at all time because kind of change things up. Otherwise, everyone will kind of be using,
That's very
the same
interesting. So
team.
who is your couple of picks that you're going to be bringing to your team for
Uh,
Nashville? If you can
yeah,
tell
I
us.
have. I have. Well, fortunately, it actually doesn't have to be from my own club, so it can be from
Yeah.
anywhere. So I
Yeah.
picked. I think I picked O'Para, the centre back, Aaron
Nice.
Long, another centre back, Lima, and then Carlos Vela, sorry,
Yeah.
has a good card. And I think the last one was in form, Alex Ring from New York City. So it's kind of
Brilliant.
they're kind of average rating, but some of them actually have good cards like Vela and O'Para.
Yeah. Got to get the chemistry up as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
we're going to talk a little bit now about streaming and playing competitive FIFA. How do you kind of, stream and play competitively? Do you find that difficult? Is it something that you'd love to do a little bit more streaming, or do you find that when you're in the big tournaments that you like just kind of your own space and nobody kind of watching, or you're having to look at comments and the likes of that goes into the streaming scene?
Yeah, I mean, for stuff like weekend league and division rival stuff like that, kind of more casual competitive stuff, I don't really mind streaming for that. If I do get in a tight game, I won't really read the chat that much, and I'll just say like, look, chat, I'll, have a look in a second. I'm just focusing here. But for the actual tournaments, I do like more to, just play offline. Because I kind of get in my head that the internet streaming might affect me, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But even 2 years ago, I streamed a full qualifier and I managed to qualify to a event in London doing it. So I can, I don't really mind it that much. As well, a lot of lads they'll leave the stream on, but they won't have a camera or a mic on. So
Yeah.
I think I might start doing that a bit more, just so my fans can, watch the gameplay still, and maybe in between matches I'll interact with them then or something like that.
I think that's a really good idea, because anyone that is coming to watch you play is coming to, watch your gameplay. It's not like other streamers where you're a character or you're putting on, some
Mm-hmm.
sort of act, or even that you have a kind of a growing community around you as a person. It's
Yeah.
it's your gameplay, and that's what people are coming to watch. And I'm sure that if you had your gameplay there without the interruption of a camera or a mic, that you'd still definitely get viewers. I know for one, I'll be watching you and supporting you through your
Appreciate it.
MLS league. And also, I just want to ask, what is your plans for next year? I know we had a pretty rough year this year. A lot of actually gamers have had it good because we were all sitting in and playing video games, so it hasn't been too bad in terms of gaming. But what are your plans going into next year? I know you talked about the MLS. Is that your number one priority for next year?
Yeah, so yeah, I kind of have a break now, but going into the new year, I'll have my first MLS event. The way the MLS league works, EMLS, is we have 3 events. We have one January, one February, and then EMLS Cup, which is the big one, would be in March. And the way it's working this year is before they kind of had everything was international, intertwined, but this year everything's regional. So um, fortunately, if you get top 3 in the EMLS, you get through to the American Regional Championship. So the way I see it is that's EMLS probably my best bet. If I can get top 3, that would push me on to the American Regional Championships, and then if I do well in that, I'll go to the E World Cup, which will be the top 16 players in the world. So
Wow.
yeah, that's my main goal, EMLS, and then I also have a few tournaments here in Europe, but Europe's such a difficult region to compete in. There's thousands of players in it compared to when I was playing in America, we'd only have 100, 200. So I definitely think America is where I'll be focusing, but I'll try to do my best over here in the European tournaments.
So America has a kind of a nice standard where you can go in and you're not against, a massive pool of players. You can go in and, really kind of show your worth over there.
Definitely, yeah. And I think as well in America the play style is different. I think a lot of the lads in North America it's way more attacking compared to when I started playing here again, everyone's so much more defensive, and
Yeah.
it's just different play styles altogether. And I think just from playing in America the last few years, my play style kind of suits over there a bit more. So
Yeah.
I think I'll probably do a bit more better over here. I have found it tough, to be honest, over here so far in Europe, but you just that's why you practice, and sure, hopefully.
Yeah, I find it tough as well.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that is so interesting. I do love kind of talking with professional players because you really see the depth of esport as a whole, and I do think that people don't take it too seriously, especially in Ireland as a real career. Like, and you're living proof that it is something that you can make a living out of. And if there's any advice that you can give to somebody maybe starting off that is like yourself, decent at FIFA and beating all his friends, what is the advice that you would give that if you did want to get into the esports scene on a professional level, where would this start?
Yeah, I mean, first off, just keep playing whatever game you want to be, going into esports at or whatever you want to pursue. I just kept playing FIFA, just kept grinding it every year. I playing it since like FIFA 06 or 05 or something. And then as well, mental things as well, just you'll have probably a lot of people saying, "Oh, why are you wasting time?" And even, I had a lot of, maybe on the weekend people saying, "Oh, come out for drinks or whatever." But you kind of have to kind of just grind it. You might have to sacrifice some social events for it. Just keep pursuing it. And even I before I became a esports pro, I had even my parents were kind of saying like, "Oh, why are you wasting your
Yeah.
time? Doing that, do homework or go outside or do something." But I kind of had faith in my ability, and it's all just believing in yourself, backing yourself, and knowing that you're good enough to be where you are. And eventually it'll pay off if you just keep working hard and keep grinding.
I think that's the best piece of advice for somebody that is starting out because it's actually quite difficult when you have everyone around you telling you you can't
Mm-hmm.
do it and you still push through and end up doing what you've done, and I think that makes you a stronger player at the end, that you can get through all the negative kind of feedback and people saying you can't do it, and you're just continuing to push on. So fair play to you, and I think that is a fantastic bit of advice. So you touched on a little bit about the kind of mental game. How do you look after your mental health throughout a big tournament, and do you kind of get away from FIFA a little bit? Is it something that you don't play all the time kind of throughout a tournament, or tell us a little bit about how you look after it?
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of the main FIFA stuff goes on the weekend, so I always try to take Monday off for myself, because it is pretty draining playing FIFA, especially weekend league 30 games, and even for the qualifiers for our tournaments, we play hours on end. But it is very. I've been in situations where I've been pretty upset, because
Yeah.
you'd go through like maybe playing like I remember in America qualifiers we play like 6-7 hours on Saturday, and then you play another 5 on Sunday, and on the last hurdle you'd lose by like on penalties to go to like London or something, and it's
Wow.
it's really hard because you put in all that work just to come up that short, and it really
Yeah.
does affect you mentally. I know a lot of other lads in the FIFA scene, have began speaking out about mental health and stuff, but kind of would just I personally just like to step away from the game, just go hang out with friends or something. That's why as well I love to play sports as well. I think it's a great, I train twice a week here with my team in Galway. I think it's just a great way, to just let some steam off and stuff like that. So I suppose just keep active outside of FIFA, just take a break, spend time with family, friends, just do kind of just stuff more relaxing and just, kind of just take a break from the
Yeah.
game really.
Yeah, some great advice there. Do you ever play any other games apart from FIFA, or is FIFA kind of your number one?
No, yeah, I love Call of Duties. I love. It's actually funny enough. Even though I play FIFA competitively, before I became a pro, it used to be one of my favorite games. And now that I'm a pro, it's probably my least favorite game. I just you kind of get sick of it. But COD is a great one.
It's a
I love
job
like
now. You can't like your job.
exactly yeah. But no, COD I love. The new game just came out there a
Yeah.
month ago. Warzone, that would be kind of the game I'd use just to kind of take a break from, just to have fun with, from FIFA. That would kind of relieve a bit of stress for me. And even other games like the new Assassin's Creed, I love GTA. I'll play a lot of stuff, Dead by Daylight. So
Awesome, yeah. That's kind of the same as myself. I'm a variety streamer. I do play a lot of FIFA. It's probably, the game that I play the most, but I definitely like to play other games. And I think it's
Hmm.
healthy to do that, to kind of take
Oh,
a break. And
definitely. Hmm.
and there's so many, there's so many great games out there. You mentioned Call of Duty. I put a lot of time into Warzone as well. I actually haven't
Hmm.
played the new Call of Duty, so I am looking forward to playing that as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's all we can say about the competitive scene in Ireland and in the United States. I do want to say thank you so much for taking your time out. I know you've a busy schedule. You're heading off to America for the Christmas. You were saying on holidays or competitively to
It's kind of a
Christmas Day
mixture.
playing FIFA, is
Yeah.
it?
I'd say the Christmas time would be more of a holiday, and then probably when we get in the new year, I'll start getting back into the competitive FIFA. So I'll get a week or two off, maybe a bit of a break.
Nice. So you need to get that family time in, especially coming up to
Yeah.
Christmas with the year we had. So
Oh,
I do want
definitely.
to let everyone know that the plan kind of going forward with GamerStore Legion is we plan on having a massive FIFA tournament at the start of next year. Doolsta is going to come along. He's going to give us some advice, probably beat everyone in it and win it. But we are going to be hosting a FIFA tournament, so please look out for that. I want to thank Doolsta once again. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to come and talk with me. I have been Ronan Fox. You can catch us on GamerStore Legion, and anywhere that you see that logo, please check us out. You can also go over to gamerstore.ie to pick up some really amazing products from Trust Gaming, and make sure at the end put in Doolsta at the checkout to support our good friend on his trip over to
Appreciate
America.
it.
And we will talk to you all very soon. Thank you so much.